Oh, hi, welcome to the third of the weekly reading vlogs this year, in which now every window is closed here because it's windy as fuck outside. It is cold. I did just take off my sweater to film this. But my arms are a little cold. So are my hands. Oh my god. So we have to talk about the plan. I have plans this week for this episode, video, whatever you want to call it. Because there's a shit ton of books I have to read. Like actually have to read because somebody is a dumbass, and that's me 2 times over. We don't need to talk about it. So the first whoopsie I made was me on anxiety, plus one of my favorite booktubers came out with a video about a reading challenge thing, board game, that she's hosting in February, and in the beginning of the video, she was like, you could do all 20, but who would do that? And then my dumb ass. And that's gonna be a whole video in February, which means I have to get all my reading for the podcast all the way through March done before the end of this month, as well as any arcs I have to read. Yeah. So that's why we're here. Also, someone half-jokingly told me to change my reading goal from 100 to 225 books, and I did it. It's funny telling Fish, because Fish yelled at me, and I was like, well, without context, a white man told me to it. And then I got yelled at more, because what the but reading plans, things, stuff, me. I have to read the third Knock 'Em Out book. That one I don't have to take notes on, thankfully. So, you know, don't remember the name of that one, whatever. The only annoying part is that it's long as fuck. I have to read the Check Please duology, which will be easy. It's a graphic novel series. It's easy. I can do it in like 5 minutes. Like, it'll be my third time, I think, reading the first one. So it shouldn't take me long. It's just annoying stuff to take notes. I have to read Love on the Brain. Also have to take notes for that one, by Ali Hazelwood. I say that as if I'm annoyed, but every Ali Hazelwood I've read, minus 2 of the feminist novellas. One of them I really was like mad about, but otherwise I've loved every single one of them. So I say that, but I'm excited. And then the arc that's published next Tuesday, so exactly a week from yesterday when I'm recording this. So already when you're seeing this, it's published. I have to read it and write a review for, which is My Inconvenient Duke. Do I know anything about it? No. I don't read synopses. Who do you think I am? I also have 2 other ones that are coming out in February that I would like to read. Well, one of them, I would like to read. One of them I would like to try out, cause for that reading challenge in February, it could fill one of the prompts. But I think there's a high chance I'll DNF it, so I want to like give it a try now and DNF it now, and so that I don't waste my time in February on that. Right? Okay. So I have to read those arcs, and then most importantly, I guess I did write these on a sticky note. Most importantly, the one that we are here all to talk about, the most important one, fun break because Ivy got in trouble, and now she's under the desk on my feet, hiding. So that's what's happening. Fourth week, never a plan. And then a friend was reading it and told me to read it, and then Fish was like, might as well do it for the podcast then, because that would be a good episode, which they're right about. And so in like a week, I think, the podcast episode will come out for Fourth Wing, by the way. But okay, so like that same person yesterday, I started it before I technically started, before I saw that it's just short 650 pages and 21 hours. I was like, how much do you want to pay? I can finish it by end of tomorrow, which was today, right? And she said, I bet the nickel on my desk next to me, and I went, bet, let's go. Then I saw the link. Then I easily read the first 109 pages last night, which is how last week's vlog ended. Now, currently, it is 2 p.m. and I am halfway through Fourth Wing, and I am having a great fucking time. My thoughts and opinions are, I don't trust Dane. Last night, in last week's vlog, I was talking about how I didn't like it, how he keeps on trying to force, Violet to do what he thinks is best for her. And it's gone worse, including but not limited to, his kind of paramour, trying to kill her, and her seeing the whole thing and being like, this happened, right? And him being like, no, there's no way it happened, until she literally, and then he forcefully tries to look at her memories, which is a whole thing with consent, right? And she's like, bitch. But then has her dragon show everybody, and that's when they realize, oh shit, it's true. And on top of that, he, Xaden, the other love interest, I love him, we'll talk about him in a minute, gets Dane to admit that, he would not break the rules to save Violet, despite the fact that it would break his heart, because he cares more about the rules than he cares about her. Which is also the main reason why he won't date her, which he's fine with, because they did kiss and she didn't feel anything, so she's not into him like that, but he's only cares about the rules and politics, and that's why he is, like, against the rules, to date underclassmen, right? Makes sense. So, I started distrusting him, and I said that in the chat, and, the only thing she said in response was the, tooth grin emoji. So I don't know what that means. But also, in the chapter I just finished, she does finally tell him off, because that whole thing where his paramour tried to kill her, and he didn't believe her, and then she was like, bitch, why do you think I didn't tell you, and I told Xaden instead. Now Xaden and her have a fun relationship called his father killed her brother, and her mother killed his father. He's has one of the largest dragons. Cough cough, her dragon is one of her dragons is the mate of his dragon, so they are connected now. And so initially there was this whole thing where he wasn't going to kill her, like he kept on threatening to, but it was given vibes like he doesn't actually want to kill you, girl, he's just gotta save face. But now he can't kill her, because if she dies, when a rider dies, it breaks the dragon, and there's a good chance the dragon die. And if her dragon dies, then his dragon dies, and a rider can't survive if their dragon is dead. So if her dragon dies, if she dies, and it causes her dragon to die, that causes his dragon to die, which then causes him to die. So now he's using all his goons to keep her alive. And it's kind of funny. The thing where Dane's paramour plus others attack her, some stuff happens where he comes to save her, and one of the guys who attacks her, she got in a fight with earlier and kept alive, despite her dragon's insistence, right? Because at that point he was harmless. And so she's like, I should have killed you then. And Xander comes in with his shadow magic, all like, I'm not as lenient as her, kills them all. Is all like, are you hurt? Taking care of her. And I was giggling like a little schoolgirl. I'm having a great time. I hate that I'm a Xaden girl. I hate it. I hate this about myself. Another thing, there's a lot of people dying, including, but not limited to, being burned to death. The first time was a girl that was super annoying, hating on everybody. And she gets burnt alive, and I giggled. And then there was a time when a bunch of guys were trying to kill a dragon, which is not a thing that you're supposed to do. As you can imagine, that's like against the religion, basically. And so she's trying to protect the dragon, and this is how she gets her dragon. But as you can imagine, some of them get burnt alive by a dragon from trying to kill a dragon. And listen, these are murderous psychopaths who try to kill a harmless dragon. I was laughing so hard. I was laughing hysterically hysterically. It was so funny. I'm having a great time. It's like the perfect mix of like romantasy, shadow daddy for lack of a better term, enemies to lovers, with people who totally deserve to be burned alive, being burned alive, and I'm having a great time. Okay? And I hate this about myself. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go read more of it. I'm gonna put my sweater back on first, and read more of it. So goodbye. I will update you tonight with my thoughts on it, because I will finish it today. So how much longer do I have? It's like 21 hours, and I have like 10 and a half. So a little under 3 hours left in row speed. Let's heck and go. Okay, Ivy's getting out from underneath the desk. God, I'm still coughing so much despite the fact that I'm not sick anymore. I finished Fourth Wing like an hour and a half ago. The person who told me to read this, right, and I were talking about it in a chat, and we talked somebody else into putting it on their TBR. Because that's how much we were loving it. I think the only explanation for what has happened here to me personally, is that I'm a lizard person now. I messaged that to the fish, to Stingray, because I was like, I don't know how this happened. I don't know who I am, but I rated Fourth Ring 5 stars, which means I've rated 2 books in January 5 stars, which is, I rarely rate book 5 stars, right? And they were like, I'm sorry, what the actual fuck? And, yeah, the only solution is I'm a lizard person now, and, we should all bow down to the Zuck. Every time I say that, it makes me laugh. You know, listen, it was all my favorite parts of ACOTAR, and it took me until about 50% to realize the other thing was reminding me of a little bit was Crave, which is fitting because the author quote on the cover is Tracy Wolf, the author of Crave, so I was like, that's fitting. Yeah, it's like the favorite parts of those books, plus dragons, but also it feels enough like its own thing, or at least something that I haven't read before, so I was having a great fucking time. Me editing me just putting the clip of Captain Hull saying vindication.
Vindication!
Cause hear me out. I was right about Dave. I understand what that grinning emoji means. Because right after I posted the vindication gif in chat, she went, yeah, you're right. I was like, damn, yes. Yeah. Also, yeah. I mean, was stuff obvious? Like the fact that she was obviously gonna get the black dragon, yes. Was it obvious that something's going on with the secrets going on in that they're keeping about the attacks and whatnot, and having to do with her mother and the traitors that Xaden father led and all this stuff? Yeah. Did I still have a great fucking time? And listen, I could talk about how, the relationship, I was dying at points. I was dying laughing at points. It was so funny. Juxtaposed. I can't pronounce that right. I'm moving on. With the fact that it is wartime and people are dying a lot, right? So those two are going parallel, happening, right? So like, there's moments of levity, but there's also moments of being like, oh shit, whatnot. But also, hear me out. The person I am, I'm gonna give Rebecca her flowers. I don't like end fight battle scenes in books. That's why I dislike the last Percy Jackson book. I say dislike. I gave it 3 stars, The Titan's Curse. It is my least favorite in the series because that is basically the whole entire book. Right? There is no plot. It is just that. even Iron Widow and Legend Board, like some of my favorite books. Legend Board is my favorite book of all time, and Iron Widow is in like my top 10, possibly top 5. If I can combine the Legend Board series into one and Six of Crows duology into one, then yes, it is in my top 5. Those are my favorite books of all time, and the end fight battle scenes, I just cannot stay in them. Okay, they're not for me. I always just like put the book down and just like, oh, whatever, who cares, and move on, right? But, and hear me out. I didn't have that issue in this one. I don't know how she did it. I was in it the whole time. I was like I knew she wasn't gonna die, and I knew the end cliffhanger, right? But I was like, characters that we spent a good chunk of the book with, and getting to know, and all this stuff die. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? And then also the fact of how she uses her magic and powers to do the thing to make it so they can win. Right. To save them all. It's so good. So good. I actually like stuck in the end battle scene. That means I had to like it. That means I had to love it. I had a great time. Even without the bet of me finishing it all in 24 hours. Which I did do. It wasn't even technically in 24 hours. It was just end of day today. So I could have finished it at like 11:59 tonight. And it still would have counted. But I did it in 24 hours. It's 650 pages. That means it has to be 5 stars. Anyways, I loved it. And I hate my life because I'm 123rd in place on Libby. Every night I cry in pain. For Iron Widow, by the way. So, you know, it's a shame. I did figure out what I'm gonna read next. Cause here's the thing. Normally, what's been happening is that I edit these the Thursday before they go up, right? The issue is that tomorrow I also am making dinner. So, for like a good chunk of the time in the morning, I'm gonna be doing that on top of doing the multiple hours it takes me to edit, right? And so usually when I'm editing, the day that I'm editing, I usually read a manga so far this month. But because this week is about me reading things I need to read, I was gonna do the first volume of Check Please, but one, I don't want to take notes. I'm really punching off those books just because I don't want to take notes, even though I have like 5 days left on my loan on Libby for the first one. But, and hear me out. I remembered I have the audiobook of Things We Left Behind. Yes, I had to check what's the title of the third one is. Which will finish a series, which is important because with Fourth Wing, I just started one, and also earlier this month, I learned that there's going to be a third book in the What Moves the Dead series, so I had to move that one from finished into currently reading. So, right, I need to finish a series. So I have the audiobook. I am able to listen to it while I cook chili for like an hour tomorrow. That is the plan. I may start tonight, but I don't think so. I am in a kick, but I also don't know what to do with my life right now, so I may just watch YouTube for the rest of the night. But like, I feel weird because all I've done today, other than a load of laundry, is just read 534 pages. That is an exact number of Fourth Wing. So, you know, anyways, Things We Left Behind. I have to keep on checking. I don't have to take notes on this one because the fish is the one that takes notes on this series. I should message them and remind them that is something we did plan for February. I did move it so it's the end of February. So they have like a whole extra month. Well, a whole month instead of a month and a half instead of a whole month to read it. But this one follows, Lucian is his name, right? Yeah, Lucian and Sloane. Sloane is the town librarian. It's a small town romance, but there's also crime stuff in the background. And this is the one that the fish is the most excited for. And if I remember properly from the vibes we get from the previous books, it is the two of them are used to be a thing in high school, but now they're very antagonistic, but clearly into each other, right? Still, because he's back into town. He like left to do businessman things because he needs money to feel better about himself. I fear what I'm gonna feel about this one. I say that about every single one. Every single one, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and then I give it like 3.5 stars. Um, the thing is, it is 19 hours long, which means I'll be reading two giant books back to back. That's fine. That's fine. Reminder: I did up my year goal to 225. It's fine because most of the books I've read this month so far have been manga. So this one just like, or shorter books. So, this was just like, even it out. It's fine. At least I'll be very far ahead on my audiobook goal along with my page goal. I'm like over 2,000 pages ahead now thanks to Fourth Wing. Thank you very much. Anyways, I'm gonna go and watch YouTube. Goodbye. Because I need a break. My brain is going wild. I don't... Fourth Wing, man. Hello, hi. The most important update is that there's a hole in my shirt, and I realized it while streaming, and now I have to throw the shirt out because it's too thin to fix. I love this shirt. I've had this shirt for years. I used to, every time I wore it, like for a decade, that's how long I've had it. Every time I would wear it, I would do my makeup to match her, especially when I had my hair dyed. It's a sad day. Other things, you just watched me cook chili and edit. I did record the light leaving my eyes for the first half. We're not talking about how long it takes. And so that I could also turn that into a time lapse. So, you get to see some of those. I don't know how much I'm gonna keep in of that one, but you guys see that. How much should I read of things we left behind? Oh my god, I got it right. That's only because I looked at it 10 seconds ago. How much should I get into it while making chili? 10%. On the ebook, I'm page 69. That was an accident. I do have the ebook on my Kindle. I don't think I'm going to dual read it though. I think I'm just going to listen to it at times, and then I do kind of want to read the whole thing today, because I fear with this one I will not pick it back up if I don't. That being said, it is 5:30 at night right now, and the audiobook is 19 hours long. Now you may be like, bitch, why do you not like this? Other than the fact that the way I literally went, yeah, I have thoughts, and it didn't go to fish, and then the fish went, it's because it's second chance. They know me so well, and surprisingly it's not. I mean, I also don't like that. And then a thing that I didn't think about at first, that they thought it could have been, is the fact that the way that he treats her, usually a lot of yelling at her and physically forcing her to do things, for her own benefit. Get to it. Because it kind of does have to do with that. But like, that's kind of how, I think his name is Knox in the first one is. It's just more of an extreme. And they do recognize, I didn't clock how that was going to be an issue for me until they brought it up, and I was like, yeah. But the real issue, I'm so excited for them to start it, just so that they can figure out the part. What line specifically triggered me? I literally was sitting there making chili, and I was also on top of time-lapsing it from the back of the stove. I had my computer with Discord on a Discord call so that they could have the roast cooking channel in the Discord call. And I literally stopped the audiobook, set everything down, and went, did he literally just tell this to her? So the book opens on the day of Sloane's father's funeral. A thing that we should know about him is that he's the type of person to help out those in need, especially young men, including Lucian. They were neighbors growing up, and there's hints of child abuse and whatnot, right? And it seems the only reason he survived it and didn't end up going to prison is because Sloane's father. And so he is at the funeral because, like, he cares a lot about this man, right, who helped him out, all this stuff. There's also hints that, like, she betrayed him at one point, but would also never tell anybody his deepest, darkest secrets and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't care about that. Because at the funeral, she overhears her mother thanking him for something. And they have animosity, so she's like, what the fuck is going on? And so people see her zoning out, trying to listen to this conversation, and just assume that she's grieving or whatever. And so her mother's like, maybe you should go outside. You've been, like, in the funeral home for a few hours, right? And so he takes her outside and gives her his jacket and all this stuff. And you think it's sweet. Like, he's all like, have you eaten yet? Gets somebody from the diner that doesn't deliver to deliver food so that she eats breakfast and, like, happens to know her favorite breakfast burrito and all this stuff. Like, it seems sweet. But this man's dead ass goes to her and yells at her. She's like, you're not yelling at me, and I don't know why, because normally you're yelling at me. And he's like, okay, you want me to yell at you? How about this? You're a fucking jackass, and stop being selfish for grieving your own father's death. Can you see it affecting me thinking about it? Oh, how dare you be grieved? You should stop making this about yourself, because you need to be there for your mother right now, because instead of grieving, she's too worried about you, and so you should be standing, like, helping her right now, and then later when you're on your own you can grieve your father, but not right now, because you need to help your mother out, because she's the important one. Like, you've lost your father, yeah, but she lost her life partner, and that's more important. And then she agrees with him. No. If this wasn't the last book in the series, I have issues DNFing those. And also for the podcast, I would 100% fucking do it. But we can all recognize that if I rate this anything over 2.5 stars after this point, like, even if the romance is the greatest second chance romance I've ever fucking read in my life, I'm not rating it over a 2.5 because of that shit. No, thank you. Get out of my face. If somebody at my father's funeral came up and did that to me, I know I am a violent person in words, saying that I would stab a bitch a lot, but I'm just saying, at least we're already at a funeral home, because that person's dead. No. I'm so heated and shaking thinking about it, so, yeah, no, I can't wait for the fish to read it. Just listen, I did say as soon as you start it, because it, like, starts at the funeral, so I was like, as soon as you start it, you're gonna know this, like, how the scene could prime me to be triggered. And they're gonna open it and they're gonna be like, ah, shit, dude. And then the line's gonna happen and they're gonna be like, ah, shit, dude. I can't wait. It's gonna be so funny. I can't wait to read their notes about that part. That's gonna be really funny for the podcast. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna try to read the rest of it tonight, but we'll see. All I've done is cook chili, edit for multiple hours, schedule a bunch of videos, and then stream, edit that, and schedule that. So I've done a shit ton of stuff. I just haven't been reading. So I should do that. I know I should. Why does the fish keep on flopping out of the tank? Anyways, I'm gonna go. Goodbye. Maybe I'll probably update you tomorrow because I don't want to have to edit for 16 hours next week. So I'll try. Keyword is try here. And not make a big update next time. Probably tomorrow morning. Make it better for both you and me for this experience. Well, it's been a long time. I finally finished things we left behind. It took me 3 days of reading it for me to remember the title. Reading it made me realize how many books I read with flowers on the cover. Just for the Books and Lawless Buzzwords on Cover edition, where you're supposed to have foliage on one of them, which includes flowers. Yeah, this is like my, if you ignore Yona, this is like my second or third of the year already. Anyways, I'm pretty sure I didn't update you any of my reading progress. Well, no, I updated you the first day. I don't know how far I was that day. I got to like 23%. Yesterday, I didn't start reading it till like 9 o'clock. Got to 61%. It is noon now, and I just finished it on Saturday. This book really tried to drag me back into my reading slump. The moral of the story is the whole reason why he hates her makes no fucking sense. My favorite part is when she told everyone why finally, and they were all went, yeah, that makes no fucking sense. Like, I get, as a freshly 18-year-old, heat in the moment, fresh emotions, right, that you may slightly blame her. But, a canonically 40-year-old who does go to therapy, I think he should get a different therapist, though, because at the end of the book, he's going back to therapy again, so that, like, she'll take him back and blah, 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 right? And his therapist, it doesn't say that he got a different therapist, so I assume it's the same therapist that he had before, who became best friends with, and so, like, he definitely needs a different therapist. Like, that therapist, the one time that, like, they argued in front of him, like, seemed to actually be good, because, like, once they actually, like, he forced him to talk, he was like, okay, now continue doing this, and don't jump into marriage immediately. Like, take the time to work before you jump into the next step. But I think he needs to talk to someone that, has no history with him. Hear me out. Anyways, this 40-year-old man who has gone to therapy still fucking blames her until, like, the last 30%, 25%, in which he's all like, it should have never been your job, apologize, because it wasn't your fault. And I went, now it's when, God, I hated him so much. Also, it gave me an existential crisis, because I started to question if I like smut anymore. Because between this and It Happened One Summer, I was like, it wasn't as bad as It Happened One Summer, where I had to skip through the sex scenes in that one. This one, I was gritting my teeth through it, but I read them. But I wasn't enjoying it. So I was like, do I even, and then I remembered I just read Fourth Wing, in which I was on a video call with people, and I was trying to hide my face because I was teeing too much at those smut scenes, and literally putting cough, cough, wink, wink jokes in the chat as I was hiding my face, like, So, like, no, I like smut. I just now, as a 25, nearly 26-year-old woman, only like smut if the relationship make sense to me. Like, if I actually like the relationship, then I will like this book. But if I don't like the relationship, I won't have a good time. I wonder how it's gonna affect if I ever reread the Four Horsemen series, if I learn the lesson. I wonder how that will affect me. Because, like, hear me out, the only good part about book 2 is basically the smut, which is half the book. Though, generally speaking, if I ever reread the series again, I'm probably just gonna skip that one. I don't like that one. And, like, the third one, a lot of that one is them dating up to the smut and their relationship before and after and everything. Right, but it takes a long time for it to get to a point where I actually like the relationship. Like, I like the buildup of it, but it takes a long time to get to that point. So I wonder if this month I will enjoy because it takes so long to get to that point emotionally. Right? Same with Pestilence, kinda, because they don't like each other when they bang along the first time. Anyways, so that's the thing I learned about myself. I didn't like this. Can you tell? At least it will make for a very funny podcast episode because I can tell the fish will love it. I will let you know, I did tell the fish had me tell them what the triggering thing was, and they went, bitch, what the fuck? So I'm not the only one who's going, what the fuck was that shit? Which is never brought up again. It was very difficult to pick it back up because a lot of their relationship for like 70% of the book was them berating each other, and so every time I put it down, it was a trouble to pick it up, being like, is what he says when I pick it up this time gonna trigger me again? So, you know, that was fun. I didn't like it, but maybe you will. 2 stars. Moving on with my life. So, fun story, my library, blah, 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 going, new library card, switching libraries, right? It's fine, it's whatever, it's not that big of a deal. The only issue is, I'm pretty sure the new one it does have copies of Tokyo Ghoul, which is great, because I've been stuck at, like, book 6, because, the library I was using, well, will be using until, they remove, like, most of its users, February 13th, like, they got rid of all their copies of Tokyo Ghoul minus the first one, like, around August, so I've been just stuck in place, which is why I started Yona in the first place. They have copies of they have copies of Tokyo Ghoul, but I'm pretty sure they, after, like, book 5, don't have copies of Yona, which I'm past. I'm on book 7. So, until February 13th, I'm panicking, like, borrowing all the copies of Yona, and putting, like, the few that have waitlists on hold, and trying to figure out when I can read them to get through as much of it as possible. Because that's the type of person I am. And I want to read them, but I won't right now because I do have to read the Check Please, mostly because the first one is going to be returned in, like, 2 days. So the plan, for the rest of the day, despite the fact that I have a migraine, we're not talking about it. Should I do my thing to help with my migraine? Possibly. Will I? Maybe. Maybe I'll take a break from reading for, like, 5 minutes and do that. But I do have to read Check Please. Current plan is to read the first one, and then while my iPad charges, I will take notes on the first one, and then read the first few chapters of the cowboy romance arc that I have. That is for February, but I don't, listen, every cowboy romance I've read, I have not liked. This was a joke request. I would like to note this, expecting that I wouldn't get it. Okay? And then I did. So I'm gonna give it an honest college try. Not expecting to like it. If I do like it, surprise, surprise, I can fit into one of the videos for next month. If I don't, I DNF it. I move on with my life. After I read, like, the first 3, I'm gonna try, like, 2 or 3 chapters. Because if there's one thing I learned from that 17 video, that is enough for me. I can usually generally pretty tell within a first chapter or 2. And then I will start or read the other Check Please, and then finish the notes for that, and then that will be done. That's one more thing I got done. Also, in case you're wondering, yes, I am panic trying to read all the books I have on Libby with my current library card. That's previous library card. I'm doing great. The good news is, the new one has more hoopla holds, or loans, per month. Bad news is I'm sharing it with my sister, so I'll try to only use up half a month. But you know, whatever. Anyways, that's that. I'm gonna go try not to have a migraine. We'll see if that works out. I don't think so, but we'll see. You know what would be really funny if I kept in parts where I pose for thumbnails. I haven't done it for any of these until this one. Should we start with check please? The first one, I haven't read the second one yet. It is 8 o'clock. I made an ice milk like hours ago and I'm still drinking it every time. I'm not talking about it. Anyway, check please volume 1. You know, the most annoying part of Fable is if you want to apparently change your rating of a book that you've read before, when you click mark as finished, it doesn't do that. Or well, it does, but it doesn't pull up the review thing automatically, which usually takes like a minute. So I wasn't thinking about it until it didn't pop up. And then that means to edit it, I had to scroll through all my reviews. Because if you look up a book, you can't edit the reviews from there. You have to go into my reviews and then just scroll until you find it. And the last time I read Check Please was July of 2021. So that was fun. And that the main reason I did that is because it's a 4.5. I think I'm keeping it there. I don't know. I may change after I reread the second one, which I am going to do shortly. That's not the button I want to click on my Kindle. But the main issue with that is because it's data from my Goodreads. So because there's no half stars, it's a 5 on Goodreads, even though it's a 4.5. So I had to so it was messing up my stats for the year. So I had to go all the way back then to change it to a 4.5. And it was annoying. Anyways, still 4.5. I laughed, I tee-heed, it was a good time. Moving on. Like, it's not, if you think Fence needs more, about the characters themselves, and a little bit like you like Heartstopper. Like, if you like Heartstopper Volume 1, and you like Fence, but think it should have more about the characters, Check Please is 2 books, and it's spectacular. And it's by A Woman of Color. So, added bonus. I didn't even realize that. Next thing I did, Cowboy of Dreams. That was the arc that I decided to give a try. Listen. Not only is it a cowboy romance, which every single one I've read, I've disliked. Should I turn down a brightness? Will it look better in dark mode? This is the only purpose of me to get a color soft is just for this, because I forgot this is a thing I could do until I saw somebody's thumbnails in which they did this. That looks slightly better. But I don't have a need for the color soft. Cowboy of My Dreams. Somebody did jokingly write a cowboy romance in my group chat with AI as I was reading this, and I did like the character writing more in that. That being said, I do like Willow, who is the female main character in this. It's not a surprise I DNF'd it. 8% through. 2 chapters I DNF'd it. That being said, it is not the worst thing I've read. Okay? I don't like cowboy romance, and also it's a second chance romance. I don't like either one of those. So, if you're a person who likes either one of those, go for it. I recommend. So, I don't want to hold it anymore. What is this book about? It's about Willow, who is a kind of up-and-coming country singer. She is on her sophomore album, but she's stuck, so friends of her brothers own a ranch or something, and they have a guest house, and they give her the guest house to stay in for 2 months as she tries to figure out her last song on her album that's supposed to be a hit, right? I don't remember his name. It's not important. I feel like it starts with an A. He is also a country artist, but he's a really popular one, right? Who is all over the tabloids because he's going through a public divorce, and the fact that before he could come out, the fact that like their publicist could come out with the fact that he's getting divorced, his ex is already in the tabloids about how she's engaged to somebody else, which broke the silence on the divorce, which pissed him off, rightfully. So he took it out on a hotel room, red flag, and got arrested, and now he's at his brother's guest house. The same building. The same building. There was a thing when they were like teenagers, maybe, I don't know, in which he broke her heart. And so she hates him. And he is very clearly into her. It is giving cowboy version of Things We Left Behind. Not only because his publicist's name is also Sloan, which is the main like character in Things We Left Behind. So I was like, weird. Okay. Anyways, his publicist sees Willow there and is like, oh my god, we can turn this into a thing where you're like, people suspect that you're rebounding together. And then, because of that, you two are making a song together, and then it will hit the top of the charts, and that'll make your company happy, and, make you look better, and blah, 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 blah. And she agrees, but with a bunch of caveats, and is like, I'm not starting anything until I see paperwork. I love her. I love her. Also, when she's like sleeping. Well, she's on the verge of sleeping when he drunkenly stumbles into the guest house in the middle of the night. And so she takes a vase and breaks it over his head. Like, if this was a different book, and if I didn't already hate the love interest, I think I would love her. Okay? Like, so, there's that. Anyways, not my thing. DNF at 8%. Moving on. I'm gonna go do my skincare. I'm gonna get dressed for bed. Get all nice and comfy. Hopefully finish this goddamn coffee soon. And then read Check Please. What is my hair doing there? Read Check Please Volume 2, which I think I rated 4. You know the funny thing is, Volume 1 I rated 3.5 initially. That is so dumb. Why would I do that? But yeah, I want to do that. And then maybe I'll read a Volume Yona. Maybe I'll start the arc that I actually need to read this month by Tuesday. I just realized. No. Whoops. Maybe I will do that. Because the only other thing I technically need to read for this week, which is the other thing that I need to read, is the Allie Hazelwood Live on the Brain. No. Yeah, it is Love on the Brain. I have both of them, Love Theoretically and Love on the Brain there. So I was like, which one is it? The one on top. I remember this. Yes, I do own a lot of Allie Hazelwoods. Shut up. Listen, in my defense, I've liked every Allie Hazelwood I've read, and only, I think, 1.5 were mid, and both of those were novellas, so it's fine. Anyways, I'm gonna go read more. I gotta mark this as DNF on NetGalley. I just realized this. I didn't mark it as DNF on anything except for my book tracker thing, and then I started playing with the stats again for no reason. Whoops. I gotta fix that. I gotta go do all that, and then do all my skincare stuff, and then I can read Check Please. In my defense, my iPad is still charging from reading Volume 1, so it's fine. I'm a little high. It has been a while. Fun fact, I painted my nails today, and they were just damp enough when I had the blanket on them that it left the pattern of the blanket, and you know, where it makes it like all bumpy and weird, and they look fine. Like, it's only noticeable to me when I feel them. except for the side of my pinky. And now I'm annoyed. Anyways, Saturday I read 30% of Check Please 2, which is not even part 1. It's split into 2 parts for each one, because initially was, I don't know if it was like published, but it was initially split into 4 parts of each of the 4 years, right, in college. I didn't even finish junior year, which is book 2 starts with junior year, because a girl got an ocular migraine, so she didn't, so she had to go to bed. By go to bed, I mean lay there in bed for like 3 hours, unable to move without extreme pain, just laying there. It was so much fun. And then yesterday, I still had one. Well, it was an ocular, but it was just a migraine, and it was annoying as fuck. I did finish junior year part 1 in book 2, right, yesterday, and then I just spent the rest of the day rewatching Vampire Diaries season 1. Watched all of season 1 yesterday. I am skilled. Reminder, tomorrow is Tuesday when the arc I have is published. There's a possibility that I can read the whole thing tomorrow, especially since I'm going to be streaming, but with my sister, and I know she's going to force me to get work done, but like, we're ignoring that my allergies are kicking and my eyes are itching. I don't know if it's gonna happen. The review may be a day or 2 late. Listen, I've done it where the review has been months late, so it's fine. Which is my inconvenient dupe, by the way. I can never brought up. It's historical romance. I know absolutely fucking nothing to me. I'm honestly surprised I managed to get it, because pretty well known historical romance author, right? Like, what? How did I get approved? Anyways, that is a thing I do have to read tomorrow. I'm not reading anymore tonight, because I'm gonna go back to watching Vampire Diaries. I'm on, what episode am I on? I'm on episode 12. I'm over halfway through season 2. Yeah. Oh, dude, when Elisha showed up, I was having such a good time. I forgot that the show gets 10 times better once the original show up. Like, season 1 was pretty good, especially once Elena figures out that he's a vampire, starts kicking up really fast, right? And I have a good time. Like, is it dumb? Yes, but I'm having a great fucking time. Season 2, really, I'm having a great time. Once Catherine shows up, really, at the end of season 1, right at the end of season 1, once Catherine shows up, it's a good time. And then it's the originals right after her showing up, and I'm just like vibing, having a great time. Also, Carolina's vampire is just great. Anyways, this isn't a Vampire Diaries review. I did read the first book once a long time ago, so like, I quit. What is my hair doing? I washed it today, that's why it's being a pain in the butt. Anyways, I read the other half of Jack Please 2 today. Just finished notes for it, and I am keeping my rating at a 4, and not just because it's annoying as fuck to change it on Fable, but also because I was thinking about it. I think it was yesterday. I was messaging the fish about it, and how I think the reason why I didn't like it when I first read it in 2020 or 2021, I don't remember which. The main reason why I had issues with it is because, one, I like the buildup of the relationship more than the actual staying in the relationship, just because I find it really cute, okay? Which was more in the first one. Two, I had an issue with Jack's sexuality. This is like the height of me having to deal with bi erasure in my life, and so with the fact that they never give him a label, I was really fucking annoyed. Despite the fact that it is blatantly said that he does like both men and women. But like, I get, like, now me as a nearly 26-year-old oh my god. I recognize that's not the point. That's not the point. And also, yeah, that's not the point. And so I moved over and like, I just realized something I didn't put in my notes that I have to go put in my notes. Fuck. Now, but, uh, that was an issue. But it did feel like it took a lot more out of me to read this volume, and I was confused. I was like, maybe it's just because like I had a migraine or something. And then when I labeled as read, I did see that the first time I read it, it took me 2 days, and also realized when I was putting in my tracker that it is almost 100 pages longer than the first one. So that may be why. It's a lot of like just montages, right? And I'm just like, cool. Also, the last like second half of senior year, most of senior year of it just feels like it is trying to say something or attempting something there, but it doesn't feel like it's doing. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly, but it doesn't feel like it's doing what she's going out for it, with like Betty graduating and trying to figure out what to do with his life, and also being out in front of like the whole world with his boyfriend and all this stuff. That part is well done, but like all the school stuff and everything that doesn't have to do with him and Jack's relationship feels like it's rushed, and like it's supposed to be important but isn't, and so it doesn't sit well with like sit right. And yeah. Anyways, I keep remembering this before I'm moving on with my life. My Inconvenient Duke tomorrow. Hopefully I can read the whole thing, right? And then I have one other book I have to read, but it's not gonna be in this one because this ends tomorrow. And then we have one more. Yay. Okay, quick update because technically I am live. Hello, hi. I DNF'd the Loretta Chase. What was that book called? The Inconvenient Duke. There we go. The Inconvenient Duke. I got 61 pages, which is 16%, and I DNF'd. The benefit of things we left behind. I think this is the book. That is the book that really made me realize this. But I think it was, what was Portrait of a Scotsman? I think it was that really started this idea. Of me not liking romance books where the male main character or love interest, the male love interest is inconsiderate or immature. Blackwood is both of these. At the point where I DNF'd, he is slowly making strides on the inconsiderate part. Subconsciously, he doesn't understand why she thinks that what he's doing is inconsiderate, because basically, all his immaturity is probably gonna get her brother dead, and then who inherits everything? Her creepy cousin who wants revenge on her for stopping him from drowning kittens when they were teenagers. One of the first things we see him do as an adult is beat a homeless man for asking for money. Also, one of the first things we learn from other people is that he tries to scam people out of their money, and owes a lot of people a lot of money. So yay. Just such a great guy. I love him so much. Right? And so Blackwood, she is trying to get married so that when her brother inevitably dies, unmarried, without an heir, then she won't be at the mercy of this cousin. So she's trying to be on the marriage mart, and so her brother and his two best friends are like, okay, Addie, so that we don't ruin your chances. One of those friends is Blackwood. Blackwood notices the cousin showing up in town right afterwards, and he's like, that's a little suspicious, and tricks the brother into letting him go keep an eye on her from afar, which is a thing because the brother knows that they had a flirtation when they were teenagers. He was 17, she was 15, and was like, hey, your options are either you continue hanging out with us, your only friends, or you marry my sister. Like, you can't continue to be our friends because we're gonna continue to do immature things, and she deserves better, which is, yeah, okay. But now they're all in their 30s, all the men are, and they're continuing to do those things, right, that they were doing when they were like 14. And it's very clear that Blackwood is sick and tired of it, but he won't say that he's sick and tired of it because he just wants his friends. That's all he cares about. But clearly he cares about her. It's annoying. It's annoying. But that's not enough to make me DNF it. What is enough is the writing. Oh my god. I did look at reviews after I finished the first chapter, and I was like, is this only a me thing? It's not. It's written in which way where I don't know who anybody is. Like, everybody, it's a normal thing in historical romances for characters to have multiple version names because, like, titles and whatnot, right? Except no person is explained in a way in which you actually know what their titles and names are. So they'll just drop 16 names in one paragraph and you're like, who the fuck are all these people? It's so much fun. And also on top of that, it'll also switch POVs in the middle of a chapter without letting you know. And there seem to be some formatting issues in the arc, so I assume that's fixed, right? In the final version. But because of that, mixed with the fact that you can't tell who all these people are, you're rereading the same section multiple times in order to try to figure out what the fuck is happening. And that isn't conducive to reading. What? So I did that. So fun. I did the thing with Fish where I give them a group of numbers 1 through blah 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 to pick my next read, and they picked 4, which is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, the new Grady Hendrix, which I do have from Libby, and I did want to read before the end of the month, so I'm gonna go read that and probably have a good time. Do I even know what this book is about? Did I immediately borrow it just because I saw Grady Hendrix? Yes. Should I look at what it's about? It's a quick synopsis. Let me read it real fast to you. Okay. Florida, 1970. I just realized I'm ending another vlog with starting a new book. This is the, like, 16th time I've done this. 15-year-old Neva is taken to Wellwood House, a home for unwed mothers, to see out the final 3 months of her pregnancy. Her father turns tail without even a goodbye, leaving Neva to endure the isolated maternity home for one sweltering summer with the bugs, the boredom, the awful food, the shunned unwed girls just like her. There she meets Rose, the righteous hippie, Holly, a 14-year-old who refuses to talk, and Zanaya, the cultured skeptic. Miles from the nearest town and forced to abide by the home's draconian rules, the girls are powerless, kept in the dark of what is to come, only that their best option is to surrender their babies and move on as if this never happened. Then, one day, a traveling library arrives outside Wellwood House, and the librarian presses a book onto Neva, one that promises answers, power, even revenge, a book of witchcraft, but the book demands sacrifice to work properly, a debt that must be paid, and if she's making deals with the devil, Neva must decide what price she is willing to pay. Okay, interesting. Cool. I will go start that. I don't know how far I'm gonna get tonight, but I will start it. I have like 2 hours before streaming ends, so hello, hi, ignore the sense of the computer being a computer. Funny story, because of me switching libraries, I forgot to switch. I should remember to do that now. Which library with the Chrome extension I use to check library catalogs, right? On this computer, I forgot to change it to the new library. So when I was trying to get the audiobook for the new Grady Hendrix, I remembered that with Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, the way he writes, it is easier for me to dual read, right? And so I checked and it wasn't available because it's like a very long wait list, and I was like, oh, so annoyed. No, that's the old library. The new one, it was available, so I have the audiobook, so I will dual read the rest of it, but that's beside the point because that's for next vlog. Fun fact for next vlog, it's not gonna happen because I don't have time, but Iron Flame loan did just come in, and Onyx Storm, is that the third one, is over 3,000 people waitlist. So fun. But I got, I believe, 38 pages. I'm on like chapter 4 of the Grady Hendrix Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. That's what it's called. So that's all I read of it. I didn't read much of it. I am enjoying it. It reminds me a lot of Southern Book Club Guide to Slaying Vampires, in which it's like not historical, but it is a little bit older timeline, right? So the way that society and culture is, especially when it comes to gender and racial and sexual aspects in society, are completely, well, are different from then and nowadays, especially the way they treat young girls. That's the point. So like the horror is the time that it takes place in, like that's part of the horror, but the reminder that the 1950s was not that long ago, like in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, that's a whole thing. She is there. We learn about who the baby daddy is, and how he treated her afterwards, how she went around trying to hide it and all this stuff, how she's been treated since she told her family. We have gotten to the home, and her first day basically, which includes meeting a bunch of the girls, and how a lot of them are more obvious with her pregnancy. She is still trying to hide her pregnancy, and she's, I believe she's like 25 weeks, so like meanwhile a lot of these girls are just like out there, like, you're in a home of pregnant girls, everyone knows you're pregnant, like, oh my god. And then so it's her meeting the girls, coming to terms with this is her life now, meeting the people in charge. I can definitely see where the medical content warning is gonna come in. I'm not excited for that. But meeting the people in charge, how they give them all fake names, and hers given to her is Fern. It's all like floral type names, and then she's Fern, which is a little weird. There's Holly, there's Rose. I think I mentioned this because they're in the synopsis, but there's Daisy. So she's the least feminine of all the names, which I wonder if that's going to be a thing. We learn the schedule, how there's all these rules, and if she follows the rules and does everything right, by the end of her pregnancy, she'll give birth, they'll give the baby away, and she will go back to her life like nothing happened, and that's what she wants, because she just wants to go back to like nothing happened, and blah blah blah. Kind of showing her naivety. She's like 15, right? So, you know, there's that. And then, oh yeah, and then there's like the religious aspect of her being asked, does she know why she's here? She's like, because I'm with child. And they're like, because of your sins. What about his sins? Just asking. Right? And then that's all that's happened. We do know in general what day the guy who's going to give her the books for witchcraft is going to be there. So that'll be exciting. I think Rose is one of the older girls, and she's one of her roommates. I think there's like 4 to a room or something like that. And she is very, I don't know, she calls her a mean girl, but she doesn't give me mean girl vibes. She gives me understands the situation she's in and doesn't sugarcoat it, which is what Fern, as far as we know her name, does with herself constantly. So, you know, but that's it. That's all I've read. I say that's all I've read, but that's like, we get a lot of information in the first 3 chapters, okay, right? It's well written. It's a Grady Hendrix. I'm liking it. And that's that. That's where I'm ending this off. I gotta go do other things. I gotta make coffee. I have coffee steeping right now. And then I'm gonna stream and do stuff. Guys, that's this one. Next week, there's one more of these. One more of this type of vlog style. Right, in which I read books that are just the ones that I have on Libby, all the ones I have on Libby that I need to finish. Prepare for some Yona of the Dawn. There's a lot of those. And then Wednesdays are, again, gaming videos. I believe for the next few weeks it should be shorter-ish than it's been recently at Supermarket Together instead of playing at Crafter. And all that jazz. Fridays starting soon, every other week. Podcast, that's a thing. Links below. Do all this stuff. And that's everything. I'm gonna go. I gotta do things. Maybe, you know. I'm very awkwardly closing this vlog. I don't we're not asking questions. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Thank you for coming to this vlog. Until the next video.